We've all heard the saying, there are only 24 hours in a day. And naturally, we think the key to getting more done is managing our time better. So we make calendars, create routines, and start saying no to anything that isn't super important. We even try to do more by multitasking, like listening to audiobooks while cooking or checking emails while waiting in line. But soon, we feel overwhelmed, stressed, and exhausted, even though we're busy all day. It's like trying to get juice from an empty orange. Instead of trying to do more in a day, what if we focused on how we use our energy? It's not about having more hours, but how we use our time that truly matters. The author David Kadavy's story is about his journey of trying to be more productive throughout his life. As a college student, he worked hard to be more efficient by learning shortcuts, typing faster, and organizing his tasks. He continued this approach when he started working, experimenting with ways to manage his time. But after trying every possible method to get more done, he found himself stuck and unsure of how to continue. The turning point came when he had to write a book. The writer was offered the chance to write a book. It was a golden opportunity, something only a fool would refuse. He thought he could use his usual time management techniques, like scheduling writing sessions and cutting out other activities, started outsourcing grocery shopping, meal preparation, even household chores, to meet his deadlines. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't make progress. He was working long hours but wasn't getting anywhere. The author David Kadavy was facing severe writer's block and had a tight deadline for his book. He felt a lot of pressure because he hadn't written a single word yet, and if he didn't finish 25% of the manuscript soon, he would lose his book deal. Feeling desperate, he went on a retreat to Costa Rica, hoping that a change of environment would help him. In few days he was more worried than ever. He regretted on his decision to come here. One day, while walking and feeling down on himself, he met a man named Diego, who casually chatted with him in Spanish. This relaxed and friendly chat helped the author shift his mindset. Afterward, he felt lighter and relaxed. Back at the retreat, he sat down to write and had a breakthrough. What once seemed impossible now felt easy. He managed to draft most of a chapter and realized he could still meet his deadline. The experience taught him that sometimes stepping back, relaxing, and changing how you approach things can help you move forward. Welcome to the creative age. Creativity isn't just about making art. It's about coming up with new ideas and solving problems in fresh ways. As entrepreneur Naval Ravikant says, make money with your brain, not by just working hard. Jobs that need creativity, problem-solving, and new ideas will always be needed, while tasks that can be done step by step are being taken over by AI and automation. Frederick Taylor revolutionized work in the early 1900s by using a stopwatch to improve efficiency, leading to the time management systems we use today. He used a stopwatch to study how workers at steel factory could be more efficient in lifting and moving heavy iron. By measuring every action and focusing on the most effective ways to work, Taylor was able to increase productivity 4 times over. But there are 2 main problems with traditional time management. First, it treats all hours the same, even though some are better for creative work than others. Second, it focuses too much on doing more in less time, without considering the quality of the work. Today, time is treated like a valuable resource. We wake up to an alarm, carefully setting it so we can sleep in as much as possible but still wake up on time. On our way to work, our GPS tells us exactly how long it'll take to get there, based on the traffic. At work, we fill out our timesheets so our boss can charge clients for the hours we work. Everything around us tells us that using time efficiently is key. Time is money, right? We treat time like a precious resource, often trying to fill every moment with activity. This obsession can lead us to rush, multitask, and forget important things like relationships and rest. Trying to save time too much can hurt our health and creativity. People like Bill Gates and the founders of Google made big ideas by taking time to think. Instead of just managing time, we should manage our energy and creativity. When deciding what to do, consider where you are, how much time and energy you have, and the priority of the task. Matching your mood to the task can help you get things done faster and more effectively. Creative sweet spot. Stephen Covey, in his book First Things First, tells a story about a business lecturer who demonstrates a lesson using a jar. The lecturer fills the jar with big rocks and asks the class if it's full. They agree it is. Then he adds small stones, filling the spaces between the rocks. He asks again, and they think it's full, but he adds sand to fill the gaps even more. Finally, he pours water into the jar. The jar is now truly full. The point isn't about fitting as much as possible into the jar, but about the order of what goes in. If he had started with sand, there wouldn't have been room for the small stones or the big rocks. The lesson is you need to prioritize the important things, the big rocks, first. Otherwise, there won't be room for them at all. Creative work, like writing, requires two types of thinking, divergent and convergent. Divergent thinking is when your mind explores many ideas, while convergent thinking narrows those ideas down to the best one. For example, in writing, you first explore different ways to express an idea, which is divergent thinking. Then, you narrow down your options, choosing the best words, sentence structure, and following grammar rules, which is convergent thinking. The key is balancing both and finding your creative sweet spot, the best time and place to do your best work. John Cunios, a neuroscientist, studied how people have sudden aha moments where the answer to a problem pops into their mind out of nowhere. This moment happens quickly, like a flash of light in the brain. It's like solving a puzzle with many paths, where each dead end leads to the answer. When you put everything together, the solution suddenly appears. Time isn't the same every hour. You get better results when you work in shorter, focused bursts with breaks. Writing for an hour each day is better than writing nonstop for hours. Taking time from important areas like family or sleep hurts your balance. The first hour rule suggests starting your day by focusing on your most important task, not checking email or social media, to avoid distractions. This sets a productive tone for the rest of your day. Different cultures think about time in two ways. Clock time, everything is planned by the clock, and event time, things happen when they need to, not by a schedule. Clock time is great for tasks requiring speed, while event time works better for creative work. Studies show that being too busy hurts creativity, and a more relaxed approach leads to better ideas. The 4 stages of creativity. Graham Wallace describes 4 stages of creativity: preparation, incubation, illumination, and verification. In the preparation stage, you gather all the information and think about the problem from different angles until you understand it well enough. The next stage, incubation, happens when you step away from the problem, perhaps by doing something else or even sleeping, and your brain continues working on the problem in the background. Illumination is the moment of sudden insight when the solution unexpectedly comes to you, often when you're doing something unrelated. Finally, verification is when you check and refine your idea, correcting any mistakes and finalizing your work. The author David Kadavy shares his experience writing his first book, where he unknowingly followed these stages. The evening research was his preparation, sleep was the incubation, and writing in the morning brought illumination. Editing later was the verification. By following these stages, writing became easier, and he stopped procrastinating as he wasn't rushing or burning out. The 7 mental states of creative work. To boost productivity and creativity, it's not just about managing time, it's about managing your mental state. Over time, author learned that the key to getting work done is entering the right mental state for each task. This involves developing rituals or creating an environment that triggers the mental focus needed for deep work. The author has memorized the path to his favorite writing spot, down the stairs, past the gift shop, and all the way up to the 95th floor. Once he steps into the cafe, he finds his spot by the window, orders sparkling water, and takes a deep breath. At first, his mind races in all directions, but soon his thoughts settle. What once felt like a challenge starts to flow effortlessly, and he begins to see the next steps with clarity. He realized he doesn't need to wait for the perfect mood. He can create it with the right rituals, such as working late, using a whiteboard, or relaxing with wine. Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, explains that different tasks require different mental states, like prioritizing, exploring, researching, generating ideas, polishing, managing, and recharging. In the prioritized state, you focus on organizing tasks and deciding what's most important. The explore state is about letting your curiosity guide you to explore different ideas, even if they aren't directly related to your task. In the research state, you concentrate on collecting facts and information needed for your project. The generate state is when you create new content or ideas based on what you've researched. After that, you move into the polish state, where you refine and improve what you've created. The administrate state is for handling practical tasks like managing your business or other daily responsibilities. Finally, the recharge state is all about taking breaks to rest and rejuvenate so you can stay productive. Switching between these states too often can cause distractions, so it's best to focus on one at a time. The author also uses tools to stay focused, like a notebook for research or wine for editing. Creating the right environment, like having a separate space for work and relaxation, also helps. Ultimately, managing your mental state through rituals, tools, and environment is key to staying focused and productive. Creative cycles. The author David Kadavy discusses how changing from a daily to a weekly routine can improve productivity and creativity. People tend to follow certain patterns, like feeling more active on Mondays and Fridays, and these natural cycles influence our behavior. The author emphasizes organizing tasks by type rather than doing everything in one day. For example, Mondays are for creative tasks, while financial reviews are saved for later in the week. He uses tools like Google Calendar and Timeful to plan tasks and estimate how long they will take, helping him manage time better. He sets rules, such as not scheduling meetings on Mondays or Tuesdays to protect his creative time, by using the fresh energy of Mondays to focus on important decisions. On Sundays, he does a weekly review to plan for the upcoming week, ensuring he prioritizes important tasks. The concept of incubation is also important. Taking breaks and letting your mind work on problems in the background leads to better solutions and less procrastination. By breaking down big tasks into smaller ones, like brainstorming 500 words instead of writing an entire book, you create a sense of urgency and make progress. Creative systems. Author David Kadavy shares a challenging experience in Panama City where constant, overwhelming construction noise next to his apartment, making it nearly impossible to focus. He had an important podcast interview with Dr. David Rock, the author of Your Brain at Work, which had been months in the making. But he couldn't cancel the interview just because of the noise. But instead of letting everything fall apart, he decided to push through, finding a way to make the interview happen in a noisy co-working space. This taught him about the importance of creative systems, which are repeatable processes that help you stay productive despite obstacles. By managing the steps of the creative process, you can conserve mental energy and continue to produce work, no matter the obstacles. These systems save mental energy, help you stay focused, and ensure tasks get done efficiently, even in tough circumstances. Creative systems are like baking a batch of cupcakes. You start with the same basic ingredients, like batter, and pour it into the same molds. While the molds and baking process are the same for every cupcake, you can add different things like color, fruit, or frosting to make each one unique. Even though the steps are the same, the final result is diverse and creative. Example: the author managed to keep the podcast going even while dealing with the noise and stress in Panama City because he had a system in place. He knew the consequences of missing an interview and a podcast release. Missing the interview would mean not just losing an opportunity to speak with someone they'd been trying to interview for years, but also skipping a week of their podcast. So he focused on finding a solution. Another key concept is the minimum creative dose, which is about taking small actions to move a creative project forward. Just like a small dose of medicine works over time, a little effort in the beginning can lead to progress. The front burner or back burner concept refers to how a new project requires a lot of focus and energy initially, but once a system is in place, the project can move to the back burner. This makes it easier to manage, as you have a routine in place that doesn't demand as much attention. Creating in chaos. The author David Kadavy describes a difficult time when his mother was seriously ill, which disrupted his usual creative routine. Faced with the emotional stress, he had to change his approach to productivity. Instead of sticking to his regular habits, like writing or meditating, the author decided to take a walk with his dad to support him. This experience taught him that life is unpredictable, and even with solid routines, things don't always go as planned. The lesson is that it's important to stay flexible and embrace life's chaos, especially when working on creative projects. During an even more challenging period when his mother was in a coma, the author struggled to stay productive. Instead of pushing himself to do everything, he simplified his tasks. He focused only on what he could handle, like producing his podcast, even if the work wasn't perfect. Breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps helped him move forward despite low energy. Lastly, the author reflects on how, despite the painful loss of his mother, he continued his creative work. Thanks to the systems he had set up, he was able to manage his energy and stick to small, consistent tasks like writing 250 words a day. This process helped him keep moving forward and find comfort during difficult times. The key idea is that life doesn't always provide easy answers or perfect outcomes, but having structured systems can help maintain creative progress, even through hardship. Small efforts can lead to meaningful results, and the process itself can provide clarity and comfort. Here are 10 key points from the book Mind Management, Not Time Management to Make Best of Your 2025. Success comes from managing your mental energy rather than just tracking time. Identify your creative cycles by recognizing when your energy peaks and design your work schedule around those moments. Tackle high-energy, high-priority tasks first and leave low-energy tasks for later. Build sustainable creative systems rather than setting rigid goals that might overwhelm you. Incorporate practices like meditation to stay present and recharge your mental energy. Protect your mental space from distractions and interruptions to maintain focus. Downtime is essential to prevent burnout and keep your mind refreshed for peak performance. Focus on daily small, positive actions that compound over time rather than seeking instant results. Let your subconscious work on problems in the background through consistent, manageable tasks. Regularly assess how your mind is functioning and adjust your strategies for maintaining balance and energy. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think managing your mind is more important than managing your time? Drop a comment below.